After weathering countless storms, when Diep once left James to secure the money needed to save her mother, and when he relentlessly sought her out, they managed to overcome every obstacle together. The memory of Pau's cruelty still lingers in Diep's mind, yet Lynn's empathy and James's deep, unwavering love keep her warm. One winter day, after James declared his love for Diep and opened a new chapter in their relationship following so many hardships, one question remained. Would Tung, James's father, truly accept this poor girl? Episode 33 reveals Tung's heart as he faces Diep, along with the moments that test their love amid unexpected twists. In the soft, hazy light of early morning, Diep stands silently in the small garden behind the wooden house on the farm in Tanmin village. Her bare feet, clad in worn-out rubber sandals, tremble as they touch the biting cold ground. A thin mist, drifting from a nearby field, lightly blankets the towering mustard greens, blurring the outlines of the garden she tends every day with all her heart, each vegetable like a silent friend bearing witness to her journey. Her patched-up, thin shirt does little to ward off the December chill, though her body shudders slightly. Her slender hands still grip the old, battered watering can, its scratched handle a testament to countless days of hard work. Each drop of icy water that falls onto the leaves seeps deep into the red soil, forming delicate streaks like beads of sweat mingling with the earth. Each drop carrying a simple hope for a good harvest. Her gentle eyes drift over the lush vegetables, and her heart fills with quiet joy as she recalls last night's moment, when James professed his love for her at an upscale restaurant. Holding a vibrant bouquet of red roses, and their first kiss still lingered on her lips like a beautiful dream amid the winter chill. His deep, warm voice had whispered, "I love you, Diep. Will you be my girlfriend?" She smiled softly, thinking to herself with a trembling mix of happiness and doubt, "I still can't believe he truly loves me, but he has transformed my life, turning me from an abandoned girl into someone cherished." Then, as if on cue, painful memories swept over her like a cold gust of wind, dragging her back to those dark days. Pau, the brutal husband who tormented her for 5 long years, had roared in drunken fury, his hoarse, scornful voice declaring, "You're only fit to be a beast of burden. What's the point of an education?" His rough hands had torn apart the old notebook she'd rescued from a trash heap, its scattered pages mirroring her shattered pride, while his merciless punches had forced her to cower in a dark corner of a ramshackle shed. Blood from the corner of her mouth had mingled with rainwater seeping through a tattered roof, and Bay, her cruel mother-in-law, had sneered sharply, "Useless. If you can't have kids, then get out. My house won't keep someone like you." Shaking her head firmly, Diep gripped the watering can as if to banish those memories, her eyes reddening for a moment before she regained her resolve. She silently vowed, "Now that I have James, I must live better, be worthy of his love, and not let the past hold me back." Setting the watering can aside, she picked up her well-worn little hoe and began weeding. Each steady swing in the biting cold echoed like the beat of her heart, a steady rhythm of hope for a brighter future and a new life with the one she loves. A few miles away, at James's modest company in Tanmin town, a simple 4-story building nestled among open fields, he sat alone in his chilly office. Faint light filtered through the gaps in the old wooden window, highlighting his face and revealing eyes that now shone with happiness mixed with a trace of worry as he thought of Diep, the one who had agreed to be his girlfriend just last night. Wearing a dusty grey coat marked by days spent working on the farm, his slender hands flipped through a worn ledger on an old wooden desk filled with pages of numbers and scribbled notes, though his thoughts were far away at the farm, where Diep was tending her garden with that fragile smile he loved more than anything. The phone on his desk rang sharply, cutting through his reverie. He answered in his deep, steady tone. "Hello. This is James." Tuan, the longtime friend and manager at the woodworking shop, responded confidently, "Yes, boss. I'm calling to let you know that in 3 days the staff will have a meeting about the new tasks." Nodding almost absent-mindedly as he scanned the ledger, James replied, "All right, go ahead. Goodbye." After hanging up, he placed the phone down and his heart raced as he thought of Diep. He reminded himself, last night she said yes. Now, I have to do everything to make her happy. But will my dad really accept her? Sipping his lukewarm tea, its slight bitterness stirring memories of the strict Tung, the father who was soon returning overseas and who had once forced Diep to leave him with $20,000. James clenched his fists until his knuckles turned white, determination burning in his eyes. No matter what my father thinks, I will protect Diep. She is everything to me. At noon, James drove his sleek black Ford Raptor to the farm, his heart filled with eager anticipation to see Diep after last night's confession. The vehicle rumbled along the rugged red dirt road, clouds of dust swirling behind him, until he finally stopped at the weathered wooden gate of the farm. Stepping out with a surprise in hand, a bouquet of red roses tucked into a paper bag, his old leather shoes made soft sounds on the hard ground as he entered the small garden. His gentle eyes searched among the lush vegetable beds, where vibrant green leaves stood as silent witnesses to their love. There, amidst the neatly arranged rows, was busy weeding, her hands stained with red soil, her thin shirt damp with a touch of sweat despite the cold, her delicate face reflecting both diligence and peaceful determination. James approached her with a warm, deep voice that cut through the quiet. "Diep!" Surprised, she looked up, pausing mid-tag, her eyes lighting up with delight. "James, when did you get here?" Smiling, he stepped closer, his eyes brimming with genuine care. "I just arrived, and I even brought some vegetable seeds for you to plant. Handle them with care." As she accepted the bag, their fingers brushed lightly, sending a warm tingle through her chilled hand. In a cheerful, slightly bashful tone, she replied, "Thank you, drive safe." Standing beside her, he noticed a bead of sweat on her forehead and gently offered, "Are you tired? Let me help you." Di shook her head with a modest smile. "I'm fine, I can do it." Still, James took her little hoe from her hand, standing close and reassuring her, "Let me help, I've done this before. Don't worry, we're in this together." For a while they worked side by side in companionable silence, the only sounds being the rhythmic tap of the hoe on the earth and the steady flow of water from the can. Then, looking up with bright eyes at Diep, James said in a deep, heartfelt tone, "You know, I never imagined I'd love anyone as much as I love you. Every day you're away, I feel lost. I just want to find you again." Diep paused, her eyes softening with emotion as she whispered, Are you really saying that? I'm just a poor girl once tormented by Pow." In that moment, painful memories rushed back. Pow roaring in his drunken rage, "You're worthless." His brutal punches forcing her to shrink into a corner, and Bay's scornful laughter, "If you can't have kids, then get out." With her head bowed and her voice trembling, she murmured, "I'm not worthy of you." James gently set the hoe aside and took her soil-streaked hand in his gaze firm and tender as he said, "Don't say that. You are everything to me. Your past does not define you. I love you for who you are now." Through tears, Diep managed a small smile and whispered, "Thank you, James." Later that afternoon, as the sun cast long shadows across the fields, Tung unexpectedly appeared at the farm. With a commanding presence in a sleek black suit, he stepped out of a luxurious car parked before the weathered wooden gate, red dust swirling around him as the tires left deep tracks on the bumpy road. Meanwhile, inside the wooden house, James and Diep sat quietly. The soft glow of an old oil lamp filled the small space, its light dancing over time-worn wooden walls, while the faint aroma of green tea drifted from Diep's cup and gentle wisps of steam mingled with the December chill. Hacky, hacky, hacky. The little dog lay curled in a corner, its sad eyes watching as unfamiliar footsteps echoed from the yard. Tung pushed open the door and stepped inside, his polished leather shoes clicking on the wooden floor. His deep voice broke the silence. "James, Diep, I've come to see you both." Startled, Diep stood up, her eyes reflecting a hint of worry as she recalled the days when he forced her to leave James. In a soft, trembling voice, she said, "Hello, sir?" James squeezed her hand, his touch warm and reassuring, his tone steady despite the underlying tension as he asked, "What brings you here?" Tung sat on an old wooden chair that creaked under his weight, the lamp's glow revealing deep wrinkles etched by time and responsibility on his weathered face. As he looked at them, his eyes softened. "I'm heading back overseas soon. I have a few companies to settle, but today I'm not here for business. I'm here for you two." Pausing, he continued in a sincere, low tone. "Diep, I was wrong to force you away from James with that $20,000, thinking you weren't worthy because you were poor and because of your past. I was mistaken. Tuan returned the money and James fought for you. I see that your love is real. I not only accept you, but I also wish you both happiness." Overwhelmed, Diep's eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "Thank you. I never dared hope you'd forgive me. I only prayed that you wouldn't hate me." With a gentle, rare smile, Tung said, "I don't hate you, Diep. I was wrong, but now I see that James chose the right person. He needs you, and I trust you'll make him happy." James nodded, his eyes shining with gratitude as he continued to hold Diep's hand tightly, saying, "Thank you, Dad. I promise to protect Diep no matter what happens." Tung then stood, patted James on the shoulder with a firm yet gentle grip, and said in a deep, reassuring voice, "I'm off now. Take care of yourselves," stepping out to his car. With a hint of satisfaction in his glance as he looked back at the cozy wooden house, he drove away, leaving Diep and James filled with a mix of joyful surprise and heartfelt emotion. That evening, as they sat together inside the wooden house, the soft light of the old oil lamp illuminated the bouquet of red roses James had given her the previous day, each bloom as vibrant as their love. Diep cradled a cup of tea in her hands, her eyes lighting up with quiet happiness as she thought, "Tung accepts me now. Our love is truly strong. I no longer have to live in fear." Looking at her tenderly, James asked, "What are you thinking about?" She smiled and replied, "I feel so lucky to have you, and now even your dad accepts me." Squeezing her hand gently, he said, "I'm the lucky one, Diep. From now on, we'll build everything together. A family, a future, okay?" With a nod and tears of joy glistening on her cheeks, she whispered, "Yes, James." Later, as Lynn's kind words echoed over the phone, "You deserve happiness, Diep, so don't doubt yourself." Diep's heart swelled with hope for the future with James, the one who had given her a brand new life. James and Diep have just embarked on a new chapter of love, but will these peaceful days last? Stay tuned for episode 34, where James experiences life on the farm with Diep as new challenges from work and family begin to emerge. Tune in to find out.
Diệp nhận ra mình yêu Seo Yang, nhưng liệu họ có còn cơ hội yêu nhau không? Dưới bầu trời xám xịt của một buổi sáng mùa đông, vùng nông thôn Việt Nam chìm trong cái lạnh buốt thấu xương. Những cơn gió heo mây thổi qua cánh đồng mang theo hơi thở của đất trời, và tất cả những nỗi niềm chưa thể nói thành lời của Tu Diep. Sau ngày cô từ chối tình cảm của Jam, người đàn ông đã kéo cô ra khỏi bóng tối quá khứ. Trái tim cô rơi vào những khoảng trống không tên, như khi ánh sáng ban mai đè nhẹ rọi xuống, một sự thật dần hé lộ trong cô. Cô yêu anh dù nỗi tự ti vẫn như một sợi dây vô hình trói chặt cô lại. Liệu tình yêu ấy có đủ sức vượt qua những rào cản của số phận, hay chỉ là một giấc mơ ngắn ngủi tan biến giữa thực tại khắc nghiệt? Hành trình trong tập này sẽ mang đến câu trả lời đầy bất ngờ và dây dứt. Buổi sáng tại trang trại nhỏ, Diệp thức dậy sớm hơn thường lệ. Cô đứng bên khung cửa sổ cũ kỹ, nhìn ra khu vườn rau xanh mướt đầy dần nảy mầm, lòng chợt dần lên cảm giác bình yên hiếm hoi. Nhưng sự bình yên ấy nhanh chóng bị xáo trộn khi cô nhìn thấy Giang, người đàn ông với nụ cười ấm áp đã làm trái tim cô rung động. Cô nhận ra mình yêu anh không phải từ hôm qua mà từ rất lâu, có lẽ từ khoảnh khắc đứng trước cô, bảo vệ cô khỏi sự tàn nhẫn của bao những ngày, khi cảm giác ngọt ngào ấy len lỏi trong vào lòng. Nỗi tự ti lại trỗi dậy như một con sóng dữ. Mình là ai mà dám yêu anh ấy? Một người phụ nữ nghèo khổ, từng bị chồng bỏ rơi, không cha không mẹ, mình không xứng đáng. Cô tự nhủ, đôi mắt mờ đi vì những giọt nước mắt kìm nén. Diệp bước chân ra đôi tay gầy guộc ôm lấy mình để xua đi cái lạnh của cơn gió sớm. Cô cúi xuống nhìn